Friends, in this podcast, I'm going to talk to you about coronavirus, impact on the global markets, and the way forward. While we all knew that coronavirus was a reality sometime end January and early February, we haven't really understood how far and wide the magnitude of corona could impact. Clearly, it has turned out to be a global phenomenon in two ways. One, of course, is the obvious health impact which it is creating around the world. And the other is the economic impact. Little did we think that the whole world would stop all economic activity, all movement, and all production for extended periods of time. As we speak, the French government is being advised by its scientific council that the lockdown should at least be for 6 weeks. If that is the precedent for the rest of the world, then we are headed for a prolonged phase of economic standstill. Investing under these circumstances is something that we have never heard about. We really don't have enough to fall back on from history. When all production in a country came to a standstill, virtually no economic activity happened. And the society has to be sustained during that phase. And nobody knows how long that phase would last. That's precisely the situation that we find ourselves in today. While we are told that probably by April 15th we would review the lockdown, it's quite likely that we would extend this further by a period of 3 weeks. The stock markets are functioning in the middle of no economic activity. This is another extraordinary event for which there is no precedence. And what does the stock market do? Every day it discounts more risks, more uncertainty, and more fears. Now, in such a scenario, it is quite unlikely that the stock market would be able to reason through this and come up with any estimate of valuation or future earnings which is reasonable. Because the variables themselves are open and unknown. So that's the kind of phase that we are heading into over the next 5 to 6 weeks. At the end of this phase, when the lockdown is withdrawn, after that we would set course to resumption of economic activity and the journey towards normalcy, which means that's a further gestation. From what it looks like, investing is going to happen right through these phases. And we as investors would have to live through this phase of uncertainty and try and form our assessments about future business, their revival, their return to normalcy, and the kind of earnings prospects which they would have as they journey in this direction. Clearly, nobody has the experience doing this. Maybe at an individual company level you would know, but when the whole economy comes to a standstill, the interlinkages, how supplies will resume, the kind of supply chain recovery that has to happen, whether or not we would have disruptions, how those disruptions would economically impact, the buying power of people once the lockdown is removed, how we are going to once again replenish people financially, and how we are going to deal with those who already have loans, there are several questions for which the answers are still coming. While the Western countries have, thanks to their lower population and better size economies, given monies immediately to their citizens, India has not been able to match them in any way. So, what is India doing? India is giving the poorest to the poor sustenance and trying to keep the health systems in ready response to what could be an impending crisis of a magnitude not seen before. So, how India is going to deal with small traders, self-employed people, small businessmen and MSMEs, and manufacturing companies, services, and the gig economy are some of the things that we are still trying to figure out. The answers are not available. These answers would probably come to us over the next few weeks. And as these answers come to us, we would also know how we are doing in our battle against the coronavirus. So, this is an extraordinary phase, and this is a phase where investors would need to be a mix of pragmatism and optimism. Pessimism is not going to help. So, the right mix of pragmatism and optimism would help us as investors tide over this phase when we are in lockdown, and then when we restart economic activity and return towards normalcy. Clearly, we can't be in a hurry in forming our judgments, in managing our emotions, in setting our expectations, and in implementing our decisions. But just like the battle against corona, just like the way we are going to overcome this coronavirus, the return to economic normalcy is also going to be gradual and incremental. And as an investor, I have a very simple advice to all of you. Keep your investing going. Do things keeping three tenets in mind. Let your investing be regular. Whatever little sums of money you have, keep investing. Let your investing be gradual and ensure that your investing into specific assets and choices is incremental. So, regular, gradual, and incremental is the way to go as we battle this virus, put it behind, and bring economic activity back. Do keep watching our channel. I'll constantly feed you with feedback on what you can do to manage your moods, your emotions, and keep yourself focused during probably what is investing's toughest times ever. I'm sure these times too shall pass. You can be confident it will too. Stay calm, stay assured, keep going. Happy investing.